Hey guys, SeanB. Today we are doing a normal Nat 5 tier list for Summoners War in 2025 because if there's going to be another bunch of anniversary event, one of them is definitely going to be a free 5-star coming up somewhere in the middle of the year potentially. Let's take a look at all the normal element Nat 5, no LD, and see how good they are. So the tier list will be split into my favorite unit, and then there are units that are good in multiple area. For example, Rika. Rika is really good in multiple area, and she can be used in RTA, guild content, PvE. She's gonna be there. And then there's gonna be the RTA section only, and then there's siege offense, siege defense, and there are PvE unit only as well. And then there are sections where units that are okay to use, like you will see me use for video sometimes, but they're not optimal. I would not use them and piss my guilty off when I lose with them. So they're usable, just not very optimal. And then there are the section where nobody really use these units. If you use them, you let us know in the comment section down below. And then if the unit is really bad, I'll put them into the bad tier. But I don't think there are really bad unit nowadays anymore. But maybe, in your opinion, there is going to be a unit in the bad tier. Let's see. How many can go into my favorite normal Nat 5 and Summon as well? Here we go. Starting off with Camilla. Camilla is really good in siege offense, siege defense, arena defense, maybe even an RT as well. So Camilla is probably one of the best water unit in the game, and she's not that hard to build as well. So she's actually gonna be in the good in multiple areas unit. She's not really my favorite unit because she is a very strong and safe pick for many things in the game, and it makes her very boring. Even though she's really good, she's not gonna be my favorite. But she is one of the best water units in the game. Vanessa. Nowadays, she's mostly an arena defense unit. She is slowly fading away from the RT meta, and she's not used in siege like at all. And she's not very PvE friendly. So I would say she's gonna be in the usable, but not super crazy in any area of the game. She used to be very popular in RT meta. Now, not so much. She can be usable there, but she can also be used in arena defense. But there are also many other speed options. So I think she's gonna be in the usable section. Doesn't mean she's bad, okay? When you look at tier lists, usually you will look at the top tier, and then everything below that is shit. But then, if a unit is in the siege offense tier, which means it is good for the siege offense. Like a unit in the middle doesn't mean it's shit, okay? Katarina. Oh, Katarina has been buff. Unit that support Katarina has been buff as well. But she is also another usable but not really optimal tier because she's very random. You cannot rely on her to kill things. She's not meta in arena, RTA, siege defense, and she can be used for siege offense. But I wouldn't put her into the siege offense tier because she's not that good and popular in there as well. Like, she's usable, she's funny when it works, but when the RNG is against you, then she's bad. Virat is one of the best water unit in the game as well. Good in RTA, arena, siege, PvE. So he is just really good, and Virat can do crazy damage. So Virat's gonna go into my favorite because he's really fun to use. I love control playstyle, really amazing. Zyros. Zyros is insane in arena offense, and Zyros is very good in siege offense wherever you really want to. I've heard the X-World champion Les even use Zyros in RTA tournament in China. It's pretty crazy. Personally, for me, is one of my favorite unit because I use Zyros every day in arena offense, and he just shit on everything. And building Zyros is very easy nowadays because they take away the crit rate requirement for the skill 3. So allowing him to do big damage and land the reset is gonna be not difficult, and he's very fun to use in many cleave in the game. Jeremiah. Personally, I'm not a Jeremiah fan. There's some diehard Jeremiah fan out there. He's not meta in most things. Like, he's good, but I wouldn't say he's super meta in RTA or siege or even arena because you can double snipe with Jeremiah, Adriana, and 2 single target snipe like Sonia and the Water Siri. Like, this guy can be used, but it's not super meta in like any of that. He can also be used in PvE sometimes, but I would say Jeremiah is gonna be in the usable tier. Tayor used to be one of my favorite units. Used to be. And then the rise of Ethna, Leo, many other high base speed unit makes him really hard to use. And nowadays for water, I've been addicted to Beth. Gonna talk about her later. for a pushback water damage control unit. So now he's fallen to the usable tier. I use him sometimes for siege offense for fun, but not super optimal. I think the thing that hold him back is the awakening, because he awakened into crit rate. And if you build a Chimera, you don't need crit rate for Tail. You need high speed, you need to survive, and you need to do good damage with a skill 2 that crits all the time anyway if you set up it right. And the skill 3 is mainly for control, so you don't have to crit there. So if he awakened into speed, or he awakened into accuracy, I would say he's gonna go like here. He's gonna be very, very fun. But I think he's gonna go into the usable tier. I used to love this guy a lot, but not anymore. Rakan. Ooh, Rakan appear once in a while on siege defense, but he get taken down very easily. He's not super meta in high rank, and he's not super meta in like anything. Like sometimes he would show up in RTA even tournament where people catch him off guard, and for the people who really main Rakan, those are like the psychopath, right? They main unit that nobody really care and make them look really, really good. But to be honest, nobody really uses this unit. So I'm gonna put him here. If you're like a Rakan main out there, let us know in the comment section down below, because you're crazy, okay? And if you have the brain to main Rakan, huge shout out to you. But I don't think he's super meta in any particular area, and he's not PvE friendly as well. Not even TOA usable, so I'm not a fan of Rakan. Perna used to be one of the best fire unit in the game, and now is kind of, I'm not too sure about Perna, because I haven't used Perna in so long. I've been beaten by Perna in Arena, no, not Arena, RTA before, but because I underestimated it and I let it through, I let it do what it did, and it did me really, really badly. But I'm gonna be honest, nobody really used Perna, even for offense. Even as a self-revive damage dealer, people use Ayunu and Simath so much more, because when they revive, they instantly do the big damage, and then they get a turn to do the big damage again. So they get to do the big damage twice. Perna revive doesn't really do much and die again very, very quickly. I would say Perna can be used in like PvE in Rift Beast as a leader for attack, but then you can also use the Dark Vampire Lord that you can buy for free, and nobody really need Perna in anything whatsoever. Wind Chimera, another usable toy, and people with Root Runes and insane LD5 or Team or Brain will make this guy look like a god in RTA Snipe. But overall, you don't really see this guy very often, because high base speed unit will shit on him. Leo will absolutely make him look bad. So for a pure speed scaling damage dealer, he doesn't really do well. Tesha. Ooh, Tesha is a PvE god. So Tesha, if you get Tesha early game, it unlocks your Giants team very quickly, even as a normal team, not like a super well-designed speed team. A normal team would love Tesha for the big AoE damage and stun, because she can stun the crystal that destroy a lot of new early game player. So Tesha is going to be great for Giants for the early game. And Tesha become a god for endgame Giants team as well. And if you really want to, Tesha can go into PvP and do some funny things. But overall, best in slot for Giants team, and Tesha will stay that way. Ariel. Oh, Ariel. I think for the longest time, this guy has been outclassed by many healers in the game. Ariel was my first Nat 5 in the game. I still remember. If you are OG SeanB viewer, you can probably tell the story of how I got Ariel, because I said it so many times. I got him on a bus to school on a water day. Back then, you kind of do a lot of Hold of Water on that day. So I remember I was doing Hold of Water. I got a mystical scroll, and boom, Ariel showed up. So I was so happy, over the moon, just to realize I use Beladion so much more than him. The light wolf that you get from Secret Dungeon that can defense break and heal at the same time, because Ariel problem is over healing. For the longest time, he healed really well, and he heals a lot, one of the best healers in the business, but he heals so much and he doesn't provide enough other utility. Nowadays, he can cleanse, he can put healing over time and defense buff, and he's still not very popular in the game because of one single reason that we're going to talk about later. Nobody really used Ariel at all for like anything. I think for early mid-game siege, Ariel will be in the siege offense tier, because if you don't have a lot of healer, then I think he's okay to be used as a water healer. He's not very popular in arena defense anymore. He used to be. But if I think about the perspective of like a casual average player, then Ariel will probably gonna be in the siege offense tier, but in my personal opinion, nobody really use Ariel. Veladril. Oh my god, Veladril probably was going to be in the usable tier or the siege offense tier, but now Veladril is the favorite tier. This guy's amazing. He does everything. He does a bit of everything. He defense break, he does good damage, he cleanse, heal, immunity, attack by boost, decent base speed. Like, there's nothing Veladril can do. If you give him a stack of genes, he will fold it for you too. He does way too many things and he's really good at them. And he's now very meta on RTA, forever been meta in Siege. And if you want to, you can use him in your early game PvE and that's going to be fine as well. Eladriel. Oh, Eladriel is a different story. I think Eladriel for early mid-game is going to be the Siege defense unit, Siege offense unit. I'm going to put Eladriel in the Siege offense unit because I think for most players, if you put Eladriel in your Siege offense is going to be very safe and it's going to be very, very good. So I'm going to put him there. I think he's meta in Siege defense for early game, but he faded away very quickly in the mid-end game Siege. Still very present in the Siege offense meta. Praha goes in and out of meta depending on what is meta, pretty much. So Praha was not meta for a very long time due to Cigar just maybe shut her down very, very easily. And Praha is very hard to ruin for anyone. Okay, I'm not even joking. Praha is very hard to ruin for anyone. To make a really good Praha, to make her satisfying to use, not easy at all. She needs almost everything. So I would say Praha is going to be in the usable but not optimal tier because she's not meta in anything, but her whole kit is very good. She has almost everything. Annabelle. Nobody really uses Annabelle. Okay, I think Annabelle is only present a lot in Siege offense as a convenient AoE defense breaker that can provide a bit of sustain at the same time. Not very RTA friendly unless you are livered, you want the GOAT of turn 2 in the EU server. Other than that, very hard to use in RTA because one reset and she's gone for like many turns and she's not meta in any other thing besides Siege offense because you can pair Annabelle with Varad and defense break. You either use the crit rate lead of the Annabelle to make Varad on crit damage with 70% crit rate and just smash the enemy, or you can go Varad HP lead. That's fine as well. But Annabelle Varad is really, really good for Siege offense. Juno is gonna be in the good in multiple area. I don't want to put Juno into my favorite because I can never make my Juno good enough to be satisfied with the Juno. Because whenever I think, oh, you know what? My Juno looks okay. And then I look at a real Juno and I feel sad. Like, this is my Juno right now. She's on Despair Revenge. She has additional damage and artifact. And she is on pretty good rune, I would say. But I could never feel like she does enough. She's good, okay? She's really, really good. I use her a lot in Siege, in RTA. In Siege, you can use Juno against many debuff sort of heavy defenses. And she will destroy them, solo them as a one unit against 3 very, very strong unit. But I could not put her into favorite because I could never make her good enough. And that is my problem. Rika. Rika is very, very good in multiple area. One of the best fire unit in the game for anyone out there. Amazing in TOA for early game. Insane for Siege with an immunity unit and maybe a cooldown reduction unit. And she can just burn the enemy team alive. And very good last pick in RTA. So solid unit for many, many people. But she's one of the OG. So like literally one of the OG, not a cowgirl, just OG. So I've been using Rika for the past 10 years. I can't bring myself to say that she's my favorite anymore. Just too old. Next up we have Ciara. I really hate and really love this unit at the same fucking time. Because there'll be days where she doesn't even have a skill too. And there are days where, oh my god, she hard carry with her violent procs into bomb, into insta-kill. I think Ciara is gonna be good in multiple areas. I cannot put her into favorite. Like someday I just fucking despise this unit. But I use her a lot in RTA, in Siege offense, and if you pair her with like Orion, for example, she can still be a very solid threat in Siege defense. So Ciara, an AoE strip like Lionel the Water Ezreal or Orion, the blue ball thingy, and a fire threat, and you have a solid siege defense, even in 2025. Charlotte. She was my favorite for like 3 months after she was discovered by the world champion Les, and I was playing a lot of Charlotte, but now she's not the favorite anymore, but still she's very good in RTA if you want her to. For like a last pick like Rika, when they don't have a lot of fire unit or they have no fire unit at all, the last pick Charlotte can be quite deadly. And for siege, you can use her into the Nana Byungchon. So Nana Byungchon or the Beast Monk kind of defense, those that don't have speed lead, you outspeed, you control with Charlotte, it's very, very fun. Beth, oh my god, Beth is like, in others people tier list, Beth would probably be in the usable tier. But for me, Beth in the RTA tier. She cannot be in the favorite because I think she's not used, or I don't use her in anywhere else but RTA. But in RTA, this unit is insanely good for me. Okay, I love using Beth ever since I started using the Tomoe Heigang team. Beth has always been there with my G3, with whatever. LD5 come in, come out, but Beth always stay on the team. I love using Beth. Speed HP accuracy, speed HP, and she smash. She's like the counter to the CC counter as a CC unit. That's why I love using her. Any new water AoE unit that comes out, I always compare them to Beth. And if they are not as good, then there's no reason to use them. Like the new Water Nobara. Very similar unit with like AoE debuff and anti-cleanse debuff. But Beth pushback, Beth put down, Beth defense break. Like, I love Beth so much. She's amazing. I don't really use Raki. For me personally, I'm gonna put into the not really use because I cannot use Raki for arena offense. I don't really use Raki in Siege because outspeeding an Odin team can be kind of tricky. And after killing the Odin, she might get killed by the Chandra, which can be a problem as well. I don't use her in RTA because I have a Jara. But even then, I find picking this unit to kill a Julian is very tricky because she's only there to kill the Julian. You kill the Julian and she's not very useful anymore and she might die instantly. So it's like a 1-for-1 trade, which is not exactly a very good play in my opinion. So I think she's gonna be in the usable tier, but I wouldn't say she's very optimal. Like sometimes, okay, she's fine. Like anti-revive, very cool. She can hit water unit, very cool. But I don't really use her enough to justify her being any higher. Ethna. Ethna's gonna be in the RTA good tier. I use Ethna a lot. She is amazing. My rune for Ethna is not that good, but I love using her because she's probably one of my only answer for the Oliver, Zibala, Robo kind of team. The team that will go first and control you. So I would pick Ethna with Hey Gang. So if they don't push back Ethna, Ethna will move. And in that kind of team, usually they don't pick any fire unit, which is amazing as well for Ethna. And I'll pick another Nemesis Will unit to combine with my Ethna and to destroy those kind of Oliver, Zabala kind of team. So she's a very solid RTA unit. I don't use her outside of RTA that much. And that's about it. Because her skill 2 thrive on hitting 4 enemies. If you use her in Siege, you realize that you don't get the full attack bar with a skill 2, which is kind of lame. So she's a very, very RTA focused unit. Chow. I would say Chow is bad. Okay. I'll put Chow here, okay? Because Chow can solo certain lab boss. I think it's gonna be the boss that frees you. So Chow can cleanse himself, very easily done. And Chow can be usable in certain siege offense, but I don't really see that very often in high rank because he can cleanse himself debuff, but not all the debuff though. So if they land too many debuff, then Chow can suffer as well. And Chow can be used in RT as a last pick against a very full fire heavy team. That doesn't happen very often, but you can do that as well. But Chow has disappointed many, many players in SWC, continue to disappoint me when I try to play with him. Never really been a fan of Chow. There's a guild, I think in global server, called the Chow Main. They love Chow to death, not me. Water Monkey King. I think Water Monkey King was supposed to be Ethna, but water. But his stun with the skill 3 is very inconsistent. And he get countered by Ethna as well. And there are many units that can hit through invincibility nowadays. And there's so many strippers nowadays that being able to protect yourself with invincibility is not that big of a deal anymore. But I would say he is usable. if you really want to. Like, it's like a fun toy, but I don't really see him being used very often. You know why I'm gonna put him down here actually? Like Chow has a real use case, but Monkey King is like you can use for fun, but it's not very optimal for anything. Leica. Oh my god, Leica used to be one of my favorites for a long time when I trying to cleave and people cleave me back and I pick Leica and Leica would destroy a lot of cleave snipe team. Leica also destroyed Ragdoll Leo team. Man, where do I put Leica? I don't know. Like I use him once in a while. He's very funny, but he's not meta. I think he will be here. I think that's where he's gonna stay. I use him once in a while. Not like I don't use him. And he's very funny when he's used and when it works. But most of the time, getting a game for Leica that looks good takes like 3 business days. So it's not that simple. Fire Monkey King. This is gonna be an RTA unit. Nobody really use Fire Monkey King for anywhere but RTA because anti-stun is a very PvP kind of thing. So I use Fire Monkey King sometimes, and Fire Monkey King is gonna be a solid RTA unit. Usually you will see like speed, crit damage, HP, 120 speed, 20k HP, and max crit if possible, and on crit damage. Leo is definitely gonna be one of my favorite unit, and Leo is probably one of the best win unit in the game. Has the most unique passive in the game. Be used in PvE, PvP, RTA, Siege Arena. Use every fucking where. With Leo, you can build your team with 0 speed because he capped the speed of the battle. Okay, he doesn't make the enemy slower. He just capped the speed to whatever his speed is. So if your Leo is 300 speed, then your unit might be slower than the Leo. It's kind of funny. And because of that, because he can cap the speed to being so slow, things like Chimera can only crit if they're faster than the enemy. But because Leo's on the field, their speed is not faster than anyone else anymore. So they can't crit with a skill 2. So they're hard counter. And Leo will also destroy all those units that use a lot of artifact that scale with speed. And all of that will go away. So Leo is just amazing. For Bruiser Com, for a team that want to take turn 2, want to survive, can build things with 40k HP, 0 speed, and use with Leo. It's really fun. Wind Monkey King used to be a usable or nobody really used to now a very popular RTA counterplay. Even though it's very RNG heavy, even though it pisses you off and pisses the enemy off because it's like playing Verd. When you use it, when you really need it to work, it decides to like, haha, I don't want to work today. And when the enemy use it, you fucking breathe. You like fart a little. You move your hand in a weird way. He's like, stun you. Yeah, very, very annoying unit. But mostly use an RTA personally. For me though, I'm gonna put Monkey into the upper tier because I use Monkey a lot in Siege against team like Byungchon with LD or Byungchon with water, like Chandra Byungchon. He just destroys those teams with the revenge. If you use the right tank and that tank can absorb a couple hit, he will cut in between and slap the shit out of those units, even if they have immunity. So that's really, really fun nowadays. For me, Chandra is going to be in the good in multiple areas because he's very popular in Siege, very popular in RTA, solid unit, and you can build Chandra on Swift, Vio Despair, whichever way you want, and he's going to be good regardless. A very popular unit. Not sure if it's going to slow down anytime soon, but still very popular after the Cigar nerf. Kumar is now a very popular unit purely for Siege defense. Nobody really used Kumar for anywhere else but Siege defense, but he's really good in there. He counters a lot of water counterplay as well because a lot of people run like Camilla, Water Demon team, and he can Oblivion the Water Demon by accident with a team up with LD unit. And that would destroy the Water Demon revive. And he can Oblivion Camilla sustain as well. So very solid Siege defense unit and works really well if you own a Sylvia, but if you don't, you can pair with like any other LD threat and a Wind Reviver, which is Tyrannus, which is very, very popular right now. Retash, on the other hand, used to be one of the best Beastma out there, but now I would say nobody really used Retash for any real purpose. You can pair Retash with like Virat to do like the huge damage with defense break and defense buff, but nobody really do that. They rather do it with Annabelle or like Alaya for defense buff and healing. Like, he's not really that good. He's the only unit in the game that can defense break and defense buff at the same time, if I'm not wrong. I think the next step to make Retash really good and usable is to make the skill 3 ignore element so that he can defense break more reliably, or make the skill 3 double hit so that he can reliably defense break with the defense buff, and now he can do better with all the other defense scaling damage dealer. But he's great. Wusa used to be good in multiple area, but Wusa has fallen down so much. It's kind of weird how such a unit is not being used at all because strip is so popular nowadays. I would say Wusa is gonna be really good and best utilized in siege offense with things like Rika, with things like AoE debuff, and he's not like the best in slot, but he can always be used in a lot of different teams to make it so much safer. What about Chiwu? Chiwu, for me personally, I use Chiwu a lot in arena offense, and you can also use Chiwu in siege offense, and you can also use Chiwu in RTA. So I think Chiwu is really good in multiple areas. You might even use Chiwu on your arena defense if you really want to. And with a buff to skill 2, he can do some solid damage as well. So I think Chiwu is actually really good and usable in multiple areas. Pongbek. Okay, this guy used to be the staple for arena offense, but nowadays, not really. He doesn't do enough damage for siege offense as a solo damage dealer. And for arena offense, being able to use Tiana Galleon doesn't make you go past like C2, because every defense after that will destroy your Tiana Galleon Pongbek team. Usually because Tiana is really slow. And nobody uses him in RTA, so I think he's maybe in the low rank he can be usable, but not super optimal. But for me, it's gonna be in the nobody really used tier. Theomas. Theomas, usable. Thessarian, good in multiple areas. I think Thessarian is still a very solid unit in RTA, very underrated. Solid counterplay in Siege. So, very good PvP unit overall. Even on defense, for Siege defense sometimes. You see Thessarian because, once again, Oblivion will just destroy a lot of different passive. Akamamir, no one really use. Alicia, she is or used to be very good in arena offense, but as a solo damage dealer, very hard to use in the siege offense meta because of the win heavy meta right now that we have. So I would say she's gonna be in the usable but not optimal. Like, she's fun to use sometimes, but it's very hard to find a team that she can really destroy. Brandia, she's gonna be an amazing PvE unit for like dungeon for a big score. Still very good in R5, in Punisher Crypt. So solid PvE unit. And if you want to use it in RTA or guild content, go ahead. Big damage, big number. But solid PvE unit. Tiana, I think is gonna be still very popular for siege offense. For arena offense, she doesn't go past like C2, C3 potentially because she's really slow. So most defense with 33% speed lead and an AoE stripper will threaten to chase all Tiana offense out of the way. So she's more of a siege offense unit for like lazy people, because for high rank they also ban Tiana because usually Galleon is the problem. So Galleon Tiana X is not very usable in the high rank as well. So she's more of like siege offense unit for most people out there, and maybe a bit of arena here and there. In RTA, the only time I see Tiana is with LD5 AoE defense breakers. So Nephthys and Maximilian pair really well with Tiana to absolutely destroy slow team. Other than that, I don't really see her very often. Poseidon used to be meta for a little bit. Nowadays, nobody really use. You can use Poseidon in TOA, but like everyone has Tyrone for free now, so you can use Tyrone. You don't have to use and invest into Poseidon to do pretty much the same thing. And not meta in all of the other offense area in the game. Okeanos. I think Okeanos is more of a RTA unit. I think he's gaining a bit of popularity back again because of the cigar nerf, and they keep buffing Okeanos nowadays. So I feel like he's gonna be slowly becoming an RTA meta unit once again. Triton. Triton is a very popular in arena defense. And only that. And Triton can be used in RTA as well, but not a huge fan. But can be used. So I'm gonna put Triton here because some people pick Triton in their first turn team, but usually first turn team has a lot of win, and you pick another win. It's gonna be tough when people pick a lot of fire against you. But people do that, and I see that sometimes in high rank RTA, and one of the most popular arena defense unit in the game. You can probably use Trident for your siege defense as well. If the AI works out somehow, that is also another thing. Like you can pair Triton with your Ciara and something, and it's okay. It's not like super amazing, but it's okay. Bastet used to be one of the best water units in the game, but nowadays Bastet is gonna go all the way to usable because she's so slow. She doesn't have speed lead. She doesn't buff crit rate. She doesn't buff speed. So as a booster for one-shotting, she's usable. Like Odin, Fire Cassandra, anything that scale with attack is usable with her, but she's so slow. Sekhmet, RTA only unit, very popular. She's like a hit or miss unit like Ciara. Some days she's a god, the real god. Some days she's like a piece of shit. So I'm going to put her into the RTA tier because she's still one of the best speed contest unit for a lot of different people. And she counter so many different units like Shizuka, Shigar, Valadru because they're usually on Vio, they're slow. So she can reset them and they're useless for a long time. Hathor. I would say Hathor is like bad. Is Hathor the first unit in the bad tier? I wouldn't use Hathor in an auto team for TOA. And in TOA Hell, I wouldn't even use her because you can't really hit a sleep unit. And she's not meta in anything. Even in RTA, the Gani Hathor team used to be popular for like a little while. And they kind of fade away and they become a niche team. But now they're not even a niche team anymore. I don't see them at all, ever, for like the past couple months. So I think she's probably going to be the first unit to be in the bad tier. Because I just don't see a real use for Hathor. Maybe you are Hathor main. Then you let me know in the comment section down below, okay? Semav. Very solid arena defense unit. Sometimes in RTA, sometimes in guild content. I'll put Semav in the good in multiple area because the suicide team is still very popular for the siege offense meta when you fight team that doesn't have healing. So Ayunu, Semav, and Sean or whatever you want. Okay, things that either survive really well or also contribute into the big damage of the Semav will be great. So I think it is a unit that's good in multiple different areas. Daphnis. I hate this unit. It miss all the time. I would say I'll put Daphnis in the nobody really use because nobody hate themselves that much. Sometimes you will see Daphnis pop up. Like in theory, wow, that is a great pick. Daphnis gonna one-shot one of my unit and I can't really hurt him because of the shield. But in reality, he missed and then he died and then he doesn't do really anything. Or he maybe even fail to kill sometimes. Many problem with this unit and nobody really used that. You know what? I'll put Daphnis into the bad tier because I hate this unit. Because when I try to use him, he failed. So, not cool. Ganymede used to be one of the best win unit in the game. I'm going to put Ganymede into the good in multiple area tier because Ganymede is really good in multiple area. TOA, siege offense, RTA a little bit here and there as well, but not super meta in anything. But he's good. Molong. Molong is... Where do I put Ju Molong? Molong has faded away in the high rank siege offense team because people use Bover, immunity, and another unit that can support Bover, and they ditch the snipe to go for a longer game but safer game. Molong is actually like the weakness in the Molong Bover snipe team back in the day because if Molong gets stripped and die, it's pretty much over. So people build Bover really fast. I mean, not really fast, very tanky. A healer and let's say a Windy. Windy would probably never die in the first turn. So Windy would stay alive very long, give shield and buff to Bover to kill enemy, and survive so much better and give Bover more chance to survive as well. Molong doesn't do that. Molong just gonna die. So he's not very popular anymore, but he's still used here and there. I would say Molong is gonna be in the usable tier, but I don't see Molong in RTA that often. I don't see Molong in siege offense that often anymore, but he's still usable. Fangyan, on the other hand, is really good in multiple areas because Fangyan is still one of the best win bruiser in the entire game, providing so much value out of one single unit. Tank really well, healing, defense break, insane damage, great leader skill, can be built fast, can be built slow, just incredible. Can be used in arena, RTA, siege offense, absolutely incredible unit. Amelia, So she's probably going to be a siege offense only unit. I see her in TOA Hell sometimes for like the cheese auto team. And I never see her in RTA at all for some reason. But I never see her in RTA. So she's only a siege offense unit to be paired with Bover. That's about it. Helena is going to be the usable unit. She's funny. I love using Helena sometimes. I've clapped World Champion or rank 1 Legend player with Helena. But that is when Helena RNG is good. Okay, I luck sack them. That's when Helena really pop off. You know what? I'll bring her to the siege offense tier. Because I still see a lot of guilty use the standard Jean, the Light Paladin, Leo, and Helena team. Sometimes they lose, sometimes they win, but it's still one of the more brain-dead, good siege offense preset team that people use a lot, and you can build Helena with no speed, fat health, insane damage. Diana is going to be a good unit in multiple area, still a very solid unit in your siege offense, and still very popular for last pick in RTA when you want a unit to disrupt them and they don't have a lot of fire unit. Helena's going to be a great choice for that. Josephine is going to be in the usable tier. I hate Josephine. You know what? Josephine is going to be in the RTA tier because I despise Josephine. It is so annoying when she stopped procking. The true terror of Josephine happened when she proc after she get the turn with the passive. So she proc again and she has the passive again. Like, what the fuck? How's that fair? Josephine is just crazy in RTA sometimes in the right condition. So if you don't see Oliver, you don't see any cooldown reset, and you see a lot of stun, you pick Josephine. It's either a force ban or they force the enemy to quit. Ophelia, only see in siege defense. I swear, I've never seen Ophelia outside of siege defense, and once in a while, that one guy in RTA who like, Ophelia is my wife, I love Ophelia. He used Ophelia and destroyed people. That one guy. Maybe it's you reading in the comments, chatting right now. You are the guy that main Ophelia and make people hate life. I hate you. Anyway, you only see her in siege defense, and she's paired with like Theomas or LD5 damage dealers with a healer because Ophelia weakness is the lack of healing. So pair with a healer and a damage dealer and you're good to go. Louise. I used to see her on siege defense, but now not really. She's like Wusa. She's very safe to use for your siege offense, but she's not super meta for whatever reason. Maybe because she's not very flashy, she doesn't do damage. She's very good at protecting you though. I would say she's underrated. I think she's a very solid siege offense unit to make your team safer. So much safer. And very simple to build. Just speed HP, and a bit of accuracy for the stun. Abelio, very popular unit for arena defense back in the day. Nowadays, not so much, but still somewhat popular. And solid last pick in RTA when you're dealing with a team that will do a lot of damage, but will not kill you instantly. He will cut in between and heal your team. And he can also be used for your siege offense if you want to. Not a huge fan. Belenus. I think Belenus is a very classic case of being outclassed and mega crapped because he's a very good AoE fire unit, but there's so many good AoE fire unit that exist in the game. I would say he deserves to be in the good in multiple area because you can use him in TOA, you can use him in siege offense, you can use him in RTA, you can use him in arena defense, you can use him in siege defense if you want to. AoE defense makes pretty solid. He's not meta in anything, but he's good. I think he's good in so many content in the game with the AoE defense break. Tyrannus, nowadays very popular for siege defense, and I think that's where I see Tyrannus the most. I see Tyrannus in RTA like sometimes. I pick Tyrannus sometimes, but he get reset one time and it's over for him. But in siege defense, he's very popular. Bover, one of the best water unit in the game, and Bover is very good because you don't need good rune quality to make him work. You don't need any specific stat to make him do damage, and he make one of the safest siege offense team a free win, and is a kind of unit that people keep multiple copies of because you can pair Bover with a Lulu and then a Windy, and then you're good. You almost auto so many bad defenses that people make nowadays below G3. So one of the best water unit in the game for like siege, RTA, even in PvE for like TOA Hell. Odin, One of the most popular siege defense unit out there. Like one of the most siege defense popular unit right now for the past year because of the randomness of the skill 1 of the passive. Huge damage, can be built raw damage, bruiser style, Sonia bait, whatever you want. He is so popular, and that's why I see him the most, and that's why I think he shined the most. Christina, a raw arena offense unit. I think she's usable. She's not like super top tier because a good arena defense should have AoE strip, and if they get her, she get destroyed. But there's still many people in the lower-ish rank will not run AoE strip, or they run AoE strip with no real debuff. Like they run Vanessa, Triton, Byung-chon, and an LD5 that doesn't stun you or silence or do anything to you. They're just scary. You can use her and she will wipe the floor with all of them. But the moment you go a bit higher, you realize that Vanessa, Triton, and they put something that can stun you, and then you're fucked. So she's good, but not super competitive the higher you go. Water Demon. Water Demon is very good in siege offense. Like one of the best siege offense unit in the game that people keep multiple copy of because of how strong and brain dead the unit can become. It is so super solid because you pair her and him with Camilla or Rena, and if enemy cannot kill the other unit you pair him with, he come back, he one shot, go down again, come back again, one shot the other unit. So very solid for siege offense. And there are people out there who play the RTA style where you pick unit that just never die and then you pick him as well, and the enemy will randomly kill him by accident and then you win the game. Sometimes I don't use unit not because they're bad, it's just because they're way too fucking good, and I feel bad winning too easily with them. Fire Demon. Okay, this is the unit that I don't think anybody really use. Maybe you do. I don't think it's bad though. I think AoE, attribute advantage, damage is great. Dot is funny. But then now, if I want a fire AoE damage dealer, Zyros just comes to mind like instantly. And Zyros is fire, but he's not really fire. He clears everybody. And he reset their revive, he reset their comeback mechanic. It is absolutely incredible. And so much easier to build. So nobody really used the Fire Demon. Wind Demon. Even though the meta is revive in Siege, I don't see this guy being used by like anyone. So it's kind of weird. But because of the unique passive, I think he's still usable if you really want to push the envelope with this guy and use him on a team that allow him to just do damage, and he's gonna be like he can be the main damage dealer to whack all the Nana users out there. He can be a great decent last pick in RTA sometimes, but not all the time. Barbara just got buff, but still not very popular because very hard to use. She has high base speed, but her base speed is in the range where she's not really that fast and she's not slow, but she's not fast enough to counter like the actual high base speed unit. And after her turn, if you don't win the game almost fucking immediately, she gets shit on. She has no way to protect herself. But if you build her on like a turn 2 setup where she's on Vial and you pair with like a Nephthys, she can one-shot things, give you more attack bar after that, and Violent proc and one-shot another one. Maybe I'm putting her into the usable but not optimal tier because I think she can pop off on the right team, but it's very hard to make it happen. Like very hard. It's like playing Spider-Man in Marvel Rivals. On the other hand, Marsha. You know what? Marsha is one of my favorite fire damage dealer for RTA. And you can also use her in siege defense. You can also use her in siege offense if you want to. But in RTA, this is one of my favorite fire damage dealers. She's so much fun to use. And she make my Narsha look bad because she has higher base speed. She protects herself. She's incredible. I love using this thing. Speed damage attack, incredible unit. Savannah she used to be in the good in multiple areas here. People used to run her in Giants, Siege, Offense, Defense, RTA, whatever. But now she's probably in the usable tier. Even with the Awakening change, which should be done to many other units in the game. But now she's just okay. She might pop off in like the inner layer of the Siege defense meta, but not very popular. Like Clara, Savannah, LD is still very used in some area of the game, but she slowly fade away the moment you get serious about the game PvP. Hey gang, Hey Gang, definitely gonna go into my favorite tier. Hey Gang I use in Siege, I use in RTA, I use in... yeah, that's about it. Siege and RTA, but because I use Hey Gang so fucking much, Hey Gang is my way to fight LD5. Hey Gang is my way to go turn 2. Hey Gang is how I can use certain unit like Layla, Trix, Tomoe and not feel like I hate my life. I'm a Hey Gang abuser. Joe Gun used to be really good, got nerfed instantly after a season. No, not even a season, a balance patch. So now Joe Gun is used with Bomb Team and a bit of Siege defense. So I put Jogan into the usable because I don't see him often on Siege defense enough to call him meta. But he's usable. You can pair with CR and do a lot of fun damage. Chung Peng. I think Chung Peng is still a very solid win AoE unit. He's not super meta anymore because your skill 3 can only reset maybe like one turn compared to like Cigar, ridiculous skill 3. So Chung Peng is like okay. I use Chung Peng sometimes in Siege, a bit of RTA here and there. You can also use Chung Peng in your Giants, your TOA if you really want to. So I think Chung Peng is still a very solid win unit. Next up, we have the Striker family. Moore. Okay, Moore is really popular in like RTA only. He popped in and out of Siege defense meta, but honestly, I never really see him unless I hit like the inner tower where the enemy already give up. And then I see him in RTA. And he's a great speed leader, he's strip, he does damage, but mostly RTA unit. Duckless. So Duckless is really good when you fight people that don't know what they're doing. But when they know what they're doing and they pick a bit of water, a bit of LD in their draft, Duckless just kind of fade away. And Duckless not very used in other part of the game. So I would say Duckless is usable, but to get a good Duckless clip, it takes another 5 business days to potentially get a good game out of him. He's always there. He never really fade away. But nobody really use him heavily as well because the meta always shift, and because of the Chandra, he's just kind of gone for like a long time. Kashmir. Oh, I think Kashmir is gonna be in the... nobody really use. Like, he got buffed recently. I use him for a bit of fun, but I can see that if you want to one-shot something, you use the Ignore defense unit in Siege. You don't want to play around with a bit of defense spray, so you are not going to use him. And there's so many good free-to-play one-shot unit in the game that doesn't mess around with a little bit of defense break here and then you miss and then you're fucked. The invincibility is cool, but I rather kill instead of like hope to kill. And in RTA, people also don't want to mess around with missing, and they really want a one-shot, they pick an actual one-shot unit. And the meta never really favor one-shot anyway, because most one-shot are high risk, high reward. And when they're high risk in RTA, people kind of just run away from that. Water Slayer. Somehow he's not using Arena inter-server at all, even though he's like a destroy thing. Like, he should be usable, but he's not. And nobody really use him in Siege. The place where destroy is very popular. So I guess he need a lot of rework from Conjurers to make him usable. I'm gonna put him into the bad tier, okay? Because like nobody really used, but I also can't really find any redeeming quality of this guy. Fire Slayer Colonel. Colonel's really good in multiple area. You see Colonel in Arena Defense sometimes. You see Colonel in RTA sometimes. You see Colonel in maybe Siege Defense, maybe. That's a maybe. But he's used in RTA and he's used in Arena Defense. Wind Slayer. Cigar. The infamous unit that got nerfed. So I think he's gonna slowly fade away from RTA as well because of the long cooldown, but he's still usable nowadays if you run like Water Twin Angel to reduce the cooldown. And that is only the place where he shined because he's not really used in any other part of the game except for like a bit of RTA. He's slowly fading away fast. Shizuka. Shizuka is gonna be... where do I see Shizuka the most? Probably just RTA, but I only see Shizuka with like LD5 comm. So it's either Viva Ragdoll or Oberon Viva or mainly just Viva with some sort of LD5. And then you see Shizuka. She's not really seen in normal play that much anymore because Juno and Cigar used to be like a huge counterplay to her. One reset and her skill 3 is gone and she's a sitting duck for like many turns. So she's mainly in RTA with LD5 abusers. Tomoe. Tomoe is gonna be in my favorite tier because I use Tomoe that much. If there's a stat page for how much I use Tomoe, she's gonna be right below Heigang. Like I use Heigang 80% of my match. Tomoe is gonna be like 70% immediately. She's incredible for RTA. So much fun. She's like my LD speed lead when I draft her because she push back attack bar, she strip, she stun Oliver. She does all the amazing thing that I need her to do. I don't use her outside of RTA. And maybe I'm a bit biased, but then that tier is my biased tier. I like her so much. Gil. I hate this unit. Oh my god. I hate to fight it. I hate to use it. But she's a solid RTA unit. When they don't have a way to kill her quick or control her, she will control them instead. Very RNG, very annoying, and very RTA. Nana. Nana's going to be good in multiple areas. Nana's seen in arena defense, siege offense, and a bit of RTA as well. So very solid reviver and setup unit. Coco. Coco is going to be a usable unit in siege potentially, but also not very optimal to use. Like you don't see a serious Coco team. I hate having to wait to do like a bit of damage that's not even that good in between. Like I can just one-shot it with another unit. Why do I have to wait? So not a very popular unit because in the time that you have to wait, if you don't violent proc with the skill 3, unless you use another booster, which she will take like 2 setup to actually work well, you get control, stun, and you're dead, pretty much. Unless they make her immune to inability effect while she have all the orb behind her, maybe she'll be much more usable. The Wind Coco. Wait, what's her name? I can't remember. Kiki? Kiki is the dark one. I don't know what her name is. I think that's when I will put her into the nobody really use. So she used to be popular in siege defense for like a month, and then nobody really looked back at her. And she's not used in offense as well. So I think she need a bit more to offer. I think she's funny though. When I play with her for content, when they buff her in the balance patch and nothing really changed, nobody still really use her. But I think she's solid. She can be fun to use. Give her a try, and maybe you will convince me to move her into the something else. Mouse. RTA only unit. Very popular still. Got buff. An incredible unit that will outspeed your Swift unit and violent proc and shit on you and laugh at you. Very annoying. John. For me, John is going to be a siege offense unit because I hate using bomb in arena, but in siege it's like funny sometimes. It's great because there's no rush, and his bomb is doing big damage as well. In RT it's very hard to use because there's so many cleanser. Unless you get Sierra into the game all the time, your bomb will work. But that doesn't happen very often, so I would say I only really use him in Warrior Battle and Siege for fun sometimes. But he's really good when I use him. Every time I use him, I'm always surprised by, wow, big bomb damage, good control, low cooldown. Love it. Oliver. Oliver is an RTA god only. And because nobody uses Oliver outside of RTA, very popular RTA unit, super control, and still popular for the past, how many fucking years has it been? Like Oliver is just there. He went from like triple S tier to like S tier. He's just there. Next up we have Alaya, the best water healer in the game. Make Ariel look like a 3-star unit. One of the best healer for siege offense. I'll put her right there. You can also build for arena offense, but that's like a slow team. Some people use Alaya in RTA. You are psycho. You are crazy. You want to stay and play RTA for 5 hours a day. Not my problem. You do you. But one of the best healer for siege offense that people keep multiple copy of because of how good she is. Nora. Very popular on siege defense. And I think that's where I see Nora the most for arena defense as well. I don't see Nora a lot for RTA, but I do see Nora for PvE a little bit. Like TOA, for like auto TOA team, but I think the biggest use case for this unit is going to be on defense. For the AoE, provoke, and dot, and a bit of healing. Maximilian. This guy is going to be into the PvE tier. He's going to be one of the big 3. So I think the big 3 for PvE is going to be Tesha, Brandia, and Maximilian. And he's going to be there for your Dragons team. He's going to be there for your RFI. He's going to be there for your Rift Bees. And he's very good at doing so. You can also be able to one-shot in Siege, but you can use Kali or Covenant. And save him for the PvE build. Carlos. I think Carlos is a fun toy, but not super optimal because I use Carlos to counter Sonya, but if you're unlucky, you glance all your attack and you're fucked. And he's not really used in Siege offense or Siege defense. It's a fun unit to use in RTA sometimes, but not very hard, not very easy to pull off. So I think he's usable. He's one of my most wanted RTA unit for a long time. I got him, I played with him, I had fun. You don't see me use very often because it's just really hard to make it work nowadays. Dominic. Dominic is very good in Siege offense. Dominic is very okay for RTA. I think you can only really feel like you own a good Dominic if you have either Kovaci or Nikki. So I think Dominic's gonna be in the usable but not optimal for most people. I think he's still very solid though. Okay, I'm gonna bump him into the Siege offense tier. I think he's still really good in Siege offense. He's very simple to use, very easy to build, speed attack, and you're good to go. Pair him with O'Reilly and another elemental tank so that nobody will look at him, and that's how you get the most value of Dominic. I think for Siege offense, people tend to build like half-half, but for me, go all in high attack, do big damage, kill quickly, and you're good to go. Minato is an RTA. I think Minato's only used or seen in RTA as a last pick against heavy fire team. He's funny though. I use him sometimes, but not a huge fan. I would say he's gonna be in the usable tier. He's not super meta. He get heavily countered by strong wind unit or simple stun in the face. So I would say he's gonna be in the usable tier. Ren, oh my god. Ren has a special place in my heart, but I cannot bring him to my favorite tier because he's not that crazy. But Ren hard carry me in RTA because of his high base speed. He allowed me to destroy Ethna and Sonya and for so many people because he just have higher base speed. He saved me because I have shitty rune, but with the higher base speed, I outspeed people still. So Ren has a special place in my heart. A very solid RTA last pick. If you can know from experience, I can never really tell you how to identify things without will, but from experience, certain teams don't have will, certain win unit don't have will, and he's gonna be really good in there. Ren, oh wait, what is this guy? Zen, the win strip for siege defense, arena defense, and pretty much like Nora. You don't see people use this unit for offense, but very popular unit for siege defense because the skill tree is so random, like Orion. You don't know who's gonna get defense broken. You don't know what kind of attack boss situation you're gonna be in after the skill 3. The enemy also don't know. That's why you don't see people use him actively. But for defense, he's very, very popular for defense. Amber, oh my god. Amber is one of my favorite water units. May not be top tier for many people, but for me, god. Amber is so good. Big damage, huge dot, amazing to use in TOA. RTA last pick if you run a debuff team like me. Only like me, okay? If you run a normal team, Amber is gonna suck because if you don't prepare the meal for Amber, you don't layer some debuff on the enemy team, Amber will not shine. But if you play a little bit like me, Amber is an absolute beast for RTA. And you can also use Amber in Siege if you want to. With like Nora, if you want to, for fun. Claire is Siege offense unit, one shot, follow up after your Sonya, your Water Series, whatever. Great leader skill as well. So pretty much a Siege offense unit because she's too slow to be RTA viable. Sonya is gonna be, I think I saw in Seychelles tier list, Sonya is the best unit in the game. The highest tier. Very simple to build. Speed, crit rate attack, speed attack. You don't even need crit damage, just make her fast, and she one-shot 90% of shit that you see in the game. Very, very crazy unit. Very good in Siege offense, very popular in RTA, and I think she's gonna be in the good in multiple areas. She's really good. But for RTA, if you really want to make use of her, I think it's gonna be quite challenging because I don't use Sonya because my runes are just shit to use Sonya. She will never be fast enough or hit hard enough for Siege. I mean for RTA. I only use Sonya for Siege and she is really good. Water Holy Berry. Oh my god, I fucking love this unit. I'm gonna put Water Holy Berry in the Siege offense tier. I use her like all the time. You watch my Siege video, you will see this unit pop up all the time because I love using a good tank and then she just revenge and cut the enemy in between and just slam them with a shield and stun them. Very funny. Fire Holy Berry. I use this thing once in a while, but not a huge fan. I mean, when I used the unit, I was a fan, but overall, not very meta and anything. It's usable, it's funny when you see people do 1 damage, but just not a very popular thing to use in most cases, but can be usable. She's like a unit that requires a bit of brain and setup. If you can set up her right, then she's probably one of the best support to keep your team alive out there. This one has recency bias. Wind Holy Berry. This thing is so fun. Man, I'm biased, okay? I'm a bit biased, but I think, man, putting her next to Sonya doesn't feel right. Okay, I'm gonna put her into the usable tier. She's usable, she's very fun, okay? She reduces your cooldown, she buffs defense, she is usable in TOA, Rift B, Siege, RTA, but I cannot bring myself to put her next to Sonya like that. Like, she's not that good, but she's very fun. Use her, give her a try. Adriana, oh, this one's definitely gonna be in here. She can be used in Arena. I use her in Arena all the time. I use her in RTA sometime. I use her in Siege all the time. And best pair with the Sonya next to that as well. Best pair with Zyros and AoE defense back in Chiwu. Very, very good unit. One of the best support for PvP in the game. Fire Pure Vanilla. She's gonna be in the, or he's gonna be in the RTA unit. I only use this thing in RTA against like Oliver, Changpeng, or any other pushback. And very niche, but very good in that niche because can't be stunned, great healing, simple to build with triple revenge, and she's gonna make all the attack power reduction unit sad. Wind Pale Vanilla, the new popular annoying healer, very popular in RTA with Ragdoll Gapsu player, a decent last pick when they don't have a lot of damage because she will be impossible to kill you enough damage. And I use her a lot in RTA, use her a lot in Siege, so gonna be in the good in multiple area tier as well. Zibala. Only see this guy in RTA, only belong to the people with good Swift set to put on him, so he's gonna be the fastest unit in the team. If you want to freeze when they have no whale, you win. If you want to boost another stripper like a Wind Robo, a Gianna, a Veronica on Despair, you can also do that. So, very solid RTA unit, but only for people with very good Swift rune. Fire Zibala. What is this guy name? I can't remember. He's stripped into Silence and Bomb. I think he is very solid in RTA. And that's the only place I see him. I believe he has potential to be in like Siege defense and Guild defense, but people don't really want to experiment with him. Like, he's very similar to Laura, I feel, with the skill 1 heal, skill 2 that can provide some damage, and the skill 2 that strip. I think he can have potential as a fire AoE stripper for the defense section of the game, but not a lot of people have experimented with him yet. Smicer. Smicer is only usable in RTA, I would say. He was kind of popular for Siege defense for a while, but I don't think Smicer really brings a lot of value and can be countered very easily with like a Veramos. So I think he's only an RTA unit, and he's really gonna piss you off when he pop off. Water Evo. I think Water Evo is only really good in Siege defense. That's the only place I see that did unit shy. I don't see Water Evo in RTA that much, or even in offense team. Only in defense because she defense break. If she procs, she does a lot of damage, and she's very hard to one-shot. And that is a very important criteria for being on defense, because if you're very easily one-shot, you're going to be gone in a minute. Fire Cassandra. I think Fire Cassandra is very popular in RTA, and that's a bit of Siege offense as well, thanks to the leader skill. And she can one-shot, but because you can also use Kali in Siege, you know, you can build her on Nemesis Will and use her for different purposes. She can be used in Siege offense, but I think I mainly see her in RTA. Wind Cassandra. The skill 2 ignore defense, skill 3 pushback. On paper, seems like a very good jack of all trade. She does 2 things, but she doesn't do any one of them really well. So I don't think she's used by anyone, seriously, out there. I'm gonna put her into the low tier because for control, they are better control unit, like raw control, like Changpeng, Charlotte. For ignore defense, they are Sonya, they are Fire Cassandra, there are for Siege, there are so many 4-star units that ignore defense. You don't really have to use it as well. So, because whenever you use a unit, you have to invest Devilmon. So the less you need to invest Devilmon into these things, you can invest into the really, really good unit. Water Ezio. So this guy's gonna be good in multiple areas. I think I see him on Arena Defense, Siege Defense, and RTA. But for RTA, only for people with very good Swift Rune, because his base speed is in the lower end of the high base speed unit. And for defense, he's okay. He's usually paired with Ciara for the attack buff and another AoE control unit. I run him with Ciara and Dark Gojo. So when he's stripped, Gojo stun, Ciara with the attack buff will do the bomb damage. Fire Ezio. I think this guy is actually a PvE unit. I see him used in the Punisher Crypt for Ultra Endgame team. Okay, if you don't have very good Rage Rune to spare, you cannot really use him because that team is very hard to build. And you see him in the Dimension Rift Raid where you need a guy that ignores shield to do a bit of damage. Other than that, I don't see him used. I think he's used in Dragons if you don't have this guy. Wait, did I call him Maximilian? Fire Bayak. So this guy is now very popular for Siege defense and RTA. You can also use him for Siege offense, but not a lot of people do that. But he's definitely good in multiple areas. He's very popular in RTA for like a long time recently. Now, not super popular, but still very usable. And very popular in Siege defense with the HP lead. Win Bayak. Okay, this guy is like a personal bias for me. I fucking love this unit. He's so tanky. He does so much damage. He dot all the time. He can be used in TOA. He can be used in Siege offense, maybe Siege defense, and definitely RTA unit for me personally. I love this unit so much. Water Indra. Water Indra, I think I see the most on Arena defense, but not even that popular. So I think it's going to be in a usable tier. Like, I only see him in Arena defense. I don't see him being used in RTA or any other part of the game whatsoever. Fire Indra. I hate this unit. Doesn't do big damage, doesn't really control. I don't know what the fuck they want to do with him. I'm putting him to the bad tier because nobody uses this guy. Wind Indra is going to be a fun toy, but not super optimal. I use him in RTA sometime. I use him in, RTA only. And he's not even like super popular meta. It's more for like a fun toy. Irene. Is her name Irene? The Blue Bagger. The Blue Bagger is getting way more popular in RTA nowadays because when you eat something, you seal them away, you seal their passive away, you seal their turn away, you do a lot of damage to them. So she's getting very popular in RTA nowadays for like aggressive control team. And people need to replace Cigar with a different strip. And she's getting very popular. Fire Bloodya. That's her name. Recency bias. Very popular because of Obabo. And I think she's definitely going to be good in TOA. She's definitely going to be good in RTA. You can also use her in Siege if you want to. Great AoE fire unit. So very much feel like Beleners where you have an AoE fire unit. Layla. Layla is, oh my god, Layla used to be my favorite. Used to be. Now they don't use Layla that much anymore because people know how to deal with her. People have been fighting her for many seasons now. So she's fallen into the usable tier but not very optimal anymore because back then when she was my favorite, people didn't know much about Layla. They just let her through, they let her do her thing, and then they get fucked. But now they just know. Because I keep saying how to deal with her as well on stream. So I think that's another problem. So she's usable, but I wouldn't say she's very optimal. Oh my god. This one, I don't have. I play with him on other people's account, and every time I love it. So very solid RTA unit. The the Water Dokkaebi Lord. Amazing AoE control, healing strip, high base speed, solid skill 1. Nothing to complain about this unit. Like, he's probably going to be the next super meta, very popular with Oliver and Sekhmet. Wait, what? Mook Wong, I think. That's his name. The Fire Dokkaebi Lord. Mook Wong. This guy, I use him purely for arena offense. Like, that's the only purpose that I use him for. I don't use him in anything else. So I don't really know where to put him because I don't have an arena tier because it's so niche. So I would put him into the, man, I don't know. I think he's going to be in a usable tier. Like you can replace him with Nora, with Rika, with any AoE dot unit. I use him because he got that fat, juicy, and wet fire HP leader skill, and he heal a little bit. Sometimes you need a bit of healing in your team. But any other AoE dot unit you can use to replace him. I think it's gonna be totally fine, but I like him for the leader skill. Byung-chon, still very popular in siege defense, still very popular in arena defense, and not very popular to actively be used in other stuff. So I think still a siege defense meta unit, but I think slowly he will fade away as well. It's just that hard to one-shot, big damage, random strip. Water Twin Angel. This guy requires good reflex and IQ to play an RTA well, because I think I have pressed the wrong skill so many times for this guy, but still want a better water leader skill, and is an army in one single unit, does a bit of everything and not very good at one thing. But I think that's the theme of RTA nowadays. You need unit that just do a bit of everything, and you combine many units that do a bit of everything, and now you have many good things. I don't know how to say that. Instead of like 1+1+1, you get like a little 0.5, but then you still have the great end result. Fire Twin. I think he's usable. I see people use him to counter Julian, and like that's about it. But I don't think it's very optimal because nobody really use him. Like seriously, I don't see anybody use this guy as a main counter or like a main siege offense kind of thing. But I still know that people use him, so I'll put him to the usable tier. Water Twin Angel. I think it's also going to be a usable unit. I think if they give Water Twin Angel a better awakening, like accuracy or speed, it'll be much better than right now. But right now, he still remain in the gray area where some high rank player are abusing him, but nobody in the game actually uses this guy. Water Geralt. Okay, I think Water Geralt is another PvE unit for early game player, but that's when you got him for free immediately. But if you buy him from the shop, I don't think he really have a strong use. So I wouldn't even recommend buying him from the Ancient Coin shop if you don't really have to. Fire Geralt. Oh, Fire Geralt is... I really like this unit. I really do like this unit. I think Fire Geralt is very good for multiple area. Very much like Rika or Baroness, another fire AoE debuff unit. No strip though, but provides so much value for the team. And you can use him in Arena, RTA. I use him in Arena so much for Dot and Siege offense, even Siege defense, even Arena defense because he AoE defense break. So, hey, he's really good. Win Geralt. Still unusable, still bad, still nobody really use this guy, still just bad. Like, nobody want to care about his unit at all whatsoever. Because Bomb is really inconsistent, and he's inconsistent and lending the freaking inconsistent debuff. So, nobody want to use him. Probably one of the best. I want to put him or her next to Sonya because very similar, but still awaken into res. If Water Series awaken into speed, holy shit. Water Series is one of the best one-shot unit in the game, and good in RTA if you want to, good in Siege, good in Arena offense, solid one-shot. Very good unit. Wind Siri, very similar to the Wind Cassandra. One skill to ignore defense, one skill to do a bit of AoE control, does nothing right, and somehow doesn't do anything well for RTA as well. The only people that use this is like Obaba, who want to make a video and then he forgot about the unit the day after. Just like me, happens sometimes. We just want to see if the unit is good and maybe we make it look good, but at the end of the day, nobody actually uses her. Water Yennefer. I feel that this unit is a bit underrated. It has AoE stun and he has Oblivion, but is only usable because it doesn't provide like big damage or super crazy control. I think if it has slow debuff in skill 3, it's gonna make the Water Yennefer so much better. Or if you have AoE control but you don't have attack bar manipulation, it is very hard to use you nowadays. Fire Yennefer straight up just nobody really use because the Siren exists and they are both fire unit that can Oblivion. I used to hope that she could be like the pseudo AoE Oblivion unit, but I tried using her and realized that no, she's not it. She didn't really do the thing that I imagined her to do, which is spread Oblivion, make it AoE, my budget Dark Gojo kind of thing. But then I always come back to use Tessarion because Tessarion can also do big damage. Fire Trish, AoE Fire Pushback. Actually kind of solid for siege offense if you want to, for your Galleon Tiana team, or just like AoE strip into Fire Trish for the pushback and huge damage. But nobody really uses unit in RTA or other stuff. So I think if you really want to use this, it is mainly for siege offense for the big damage. Water Hacker. So this is the budget Veronica with a strip, a bit of pushback, and increased cooldown, but because he doesn't really provide much value after that compared to Veronica with damage and slow debuff skill 1, so he's not being used by a lot. And I would say nobody really uses this guy for like anything. The base speed is too slow for defense value, and the lack of utility make him hard to use in RTA. Fire Hacker, on the other hand, I use this guy daily for arena offense in my dot team because they make the enemy die even faster with the passive. I use him nowadays a lot in RTA as well, and if you want to, you can use him in siege defense, siege offense. I think it's okay. I think it's gonna be in the good in multiple areas because good damage, good strip, defense break, solid unit. Wind Hacker. Until today, nobody really uses this guy. Like, I used him for fun recently one time, and he reflected the damage. He killed a one-shot unit on the enemy defense, but that took a lot of setup to do, and it may not even work properly. So, to be honest, nobody really uses this guy, like, at all. Next up, we have the Yuji family. Water Yuji, nobody really uses this guy. What does he do again? He destroys an anti-revive. If the unit is not coming back, what's the point of destroying? Fire Yuji. I think people were trying to make this guy look like he was about to replace Zyros, but then nobody really did, and he remained usable. But Zyros is optimal. Water Nobara. I hate this thing. They try to make her look like Beth, and she looks so good because I like the anime. I like the blue color theme on her design. She looks amazing, but I think she's just bad. Like, there's no real purpose, and her skill 3 still doesn't have 100% activation rate. Like, I don't get it, and they trying to change her skill 2 into not a lot of value as well. Wind Nobara, on the other hand, oh my god, I had so much fun with this unit whenever I decide to use it. So I would say it's gonna be a usable, fun, niche toy. I get counted by this unit sometime in RTA because I run a debuff team, but if you don't run a debuff team, you would never see her ever. But very funny. Try using her in your siege offense. You find a fire unit that doesn't kill your unit immediately. You know what? Even against a shower or fire Bayak, you can use her to tank. And if you live, your damage on the enemy is so fast and so fun, and they cannot do anything to stop you. Fire Megumi, one of my most wanted RTA unit recently. Great disruptor. Incredible speed lead, and counter to a lot of like speed cleave, speed snipe out there. I love this guy. Wind Megumi. I only use him for arena offense with my Lucifer Lucian. I don't use him outside of that for anything at all. I don't use him with Katarina because Katarina sucks. So I'll put him into the usable tier because I don't know if you don't have Lucifer, will you use this guy? Maybe. He's like a solid... You know what? There's no way I'm going to put Bastet in here, and he's going to be in the same tier. I mean, they're kind of similar. Okay, they're kind of similar-ish. They buff attack, they give a bit of attack bar, they protect the team a little bit, and that's about it. And they do similar things. Water Gojo. I think Water Gojo is going to be RTA only. He's stripped, but to be honest, he's only usable. Like, he's not optimal. His strip is not really good. His control is not really good. His survivability is not really good. His damage is not really that good. He's just okay. Fire Gojo. I think this guy's a solid siege offense unit. I think it's kind of underrated because there's so many water units on defense. There are Water Evo, Chandra, everywhere. They just shit on this guy constantly. But if you find a defense with that water, oh my god, he slaps so hard. It's really fun to play with him. Wind Gojo. I think it's going to be another usable but not super optimal. To set up for him to 3-turn defense break, you either need defense buff or defense break or AoE. But if you have defense break, they're just going to die. They don't even care about the 3-turn provoke that you have. They just melt it. But if your defense buff, then I'd rather use Fangyan to kill rather than provoke. But he's okay to be used. He's fun when it worked, but not super optimal for anything. Water Drakan Warriors, Solvar. I think this guy, people are saying this guy got nerfed. So I think he's gonna be in the nobody really used. Like nobody really used him before. They kind of pseudo nerfed the skill 2 to make him absorb less attack bar. So now less people are gonna use him. So it's kind of sad. Fire Drakan Warrior, I think he's bad. Like I think this guy is just bad. He doesn't do a big damage enough. He doesn't allow you to save him. And he doesn't really have any purpose. Compared to Fire Gojo, dude, big ass damage. I love it. Wind Drakan Warrior, also bad. No real purpose, no real control. Just, he doesn't really do anything besides an AoE strip, which a Wind Robo can outclass him in any way. Fire Tanjiro. I don't think this guy is very good. I think he's usable because he's in the class that is similar to the Wind Cassandra, where they have this ignore defense and a bit of AoE thing. I think he's actually going to be in the nobody really used tier, because if I want to fire ignore defense, I can use other units to do bigger damage anyway. I don't have to invest into this guy, to be honest. Wind Tanjiro. Okay, this guy's a little bit better because the AoE thing that he does is actually stun. So it's much higher value than the Fire Tanjiro. So I'll put him into the usable tier because he buffed him immunity as well, so he kind of self-protect a little bit. I kind of like that. So it's going to be in a usable tier. Water Nezuko. She's as good as Arena, kind of. I've been using her a bit more recently to really push the limit with this unit. So I'll put her into the Siege Offense tier because this is just another water tank in a meta where water tank is really good. Like Rina, Camilla, and now Water Nezuko can also be used in this meta. You need more water tank for Byung-chon, and she's going to be one of that. Fire Nezuko. No pushback, no real damage boost. Very similar to Water Nobara in a way, I feel. So I'll put into the nobody really used because I haven't used her enough to put into the bad tier yet. So I'm gonna be fair a little bit and don't put into the bad tier, but I think she's gonna be in the nobody really used tier. Water Zenitsu. I think this guy is usable. I think I've fought him a couple times, but I think the passive is not really that crazy because you need to either set up stun or he need to land on his stun for the passive to really work well. Not a huge fan of that because he's a raw damage dealer. Unless you pay him as a support-ish unit, maybe he's gonna shine a little bit better. But right now, he doesn't really hard counter anything, and that's why he's usable, not optimal. On the other hand, I fucking love Wind Zenitsu because he can't die easily and he get a nice little attack buff. I've been using him a bit more in Siege Offense, and I love every time I use him because of the survivability and the attack buff, allowing him to hit even harder. Love it so much. Water Boarhead guy, Water Inosuke. I think this guy is still going to be an RTA unit, but I personally, I've never fought a single one. I don't know why. I have not fought a single one of this unit when I play RTA for the past many weeks now. Like, nobody really use him. On paper, he seems so good, but nobody want to invest the time and the losses to understand him. I think he's an RTA unit, personally, maybe because I don't have him, so I'm more biased. But I need people to use more of him to see how good he actually is. But I believe in the potential. I invest early into the Water Inosuke coin, okay? Fire Inosuke, bad. Like, not even nobody really uses it. Has no real use case, no counter to anything in particular, just bad. Water Spectre. You know what? This unit is kind of underrated. Like, I think she's kind of good. AoE provoke, the crazy damage with the Skogo mechanic. I like it a lot. I've seen her in RTA. I've seen her in Siege Defense. I think she has a lot of potential to be good in multiple areas of the game as a Water Bruiser unit and control at the same time. Fire Spectre Princess. I'm gonna put her into the nobody really use because I swear, never seen one use in RTA ever. Never seen one used in Siege Defense, in Siege Offense, like ever. The Wind one, same. On paper, seems like a good maybe defense unit because you can't really one-shot, but never seen anyone use this thing. It's wild. I don't know. So she's gonna be right there. And now we have a bunch of free-to-play unit. I think Water Phoenix bad. I think Homunculus PvE only. Whatever color you want to use. The Ginger Brave guy, I think is gonna be okay for RTA because actually I'm gonna be usable, but not optimal. So like a Segment, faster than Segment, but worse than Segment. Fire Panda is gonna be PvE. Homunculus is gonna be PvE as well. Ken is gonna be PvE. Riley. Oh, Riley's probably one of the best support in the game. Probably gonna be in the good in multiple areas because you see Riley in RTA, Arena, and Siege offense as well. Stop using Riley in Siege defense. She's terrible, okay? If you want to get better, you want to stop using that unit in Siege defense. And Belager for PvE as well. And that is my normal Nat 5 tier list. Let me take a look once again. Okay, for the top row, it is my personal opinion, okay? Don't go and pick a blessing based on my super favorite opinion because I am very biased. Except for maybe like Leo. You can always pick Leo and be fine with it. Then the good in multiple area, I think that area is like the good, more neutral opinion. And then we have the RTA good. Some unit in RTA good might be better than one another, but they're all pretty much RTA only unit. And then we have the Siege offense unit. Some are potentially good, like Water Nezuko, Wind Zenitsu is a bit more recent. And then we have the Siege defense tier. I think the PvE tier is pretty correct. And then there this area. This is the gray area, okay? This is the area where, Sean, I use XYZ unit and it's fucking amazing. Dude, amazing. Good. Happy for you, dude. Keep it up, all right? Fighting. Keep using it. If you have fun, that is very important. Who give a fuck about what I think? If you have fun. If you don't have fun and you can't understand why the unit is having a lot of success for other people, then that is a problem. But if you're having fun, you're having success with a unit that I don't find very fun, like, hey, Sean, I fucking love the Water Gojo. Good for you, dude. Have fun. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.